everybody, welcome to the SkyLounge podcast, episode number 157. I'm actually doing things a bit unusual, relatively speaking to the other podcast episodes. It's very impromptu, no script. Why is that, son? Well, as you could probably take a guess at, kind of procrastinated. Here. Not gonna lie to you. Procrastinated, and I'm actually headed over to the Vegas Golden Knights game. The Vegas Golden Knights will be facing the Toronto Raptors, who are one of my top teams to watch, away teams to watch, at least as a spectator and regular goer of T-Mobile Arena. So the whole thing is, boys and girls, I understand that relative to how much I fucking talk up myself and all the shit that I do here on the YouTubes, maybe even on the, the podcast that, I promote every week on Tuesday, it's been kind of a stagnant period over this last few weeks. I mean, we can really be honest, this last year or so has been really off for me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm struggling right now. I am. And I lie to myself a lot of times when I'm making these podcasts, like, I'm gonna do, better next week. We're gonna move on towards next week and get better. But the reality is, I'm kind of in this stagnant place of trying to figure out where we're gonna take things, how I'm gonna approach, day to day, week to week, year to year, and beyond. And unfortunately, right now, as it stands right now, the podcast is kind of at a stasis, like a very near hiatus kind of feel to it, just because I don't update consistently, just because I don't do my segments as consistently as I want, which it's no one else's fault but mine. I'm willing to admit that. I'm not going to be that fucking, pointed finger, what the fuck happened? I'm not going to be that idiot, right? So, having said that, it's weird because I always put up my complaints kind of like laundry in a way, and because of that, I tend to just lay the problem out and just lay it bare and not really go about it in a more critical and more healthy and efficient way. And really, that is on me. Of course that is. And I'm not trying to fucking shift the blame here. But there are times and periods like this where I just feel like, man, I don't really feel that great. Not physically. I mean more mentally, psychologically. I don't feel all that great. And I take it in forms of these self-imposed hiatuses that I put on the podcast. And really, even on YouTube, I've taken at least the last 2-3 days to not really put out any content out there. And it is on me. But I haven't been feeling like myself to record and to push out content that I want to do right now. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that I'm a little tired, a little mentally exhausted some of these days. And there are times like this where I just kind of want to go into a lull period. But then in the lull period, in kind of this quote-unquote peace, I'm sitting here or, standing, wherever the fuck I am. I get to think about these things, get a little pensive and shit. And you start thinking about legacy, right? And the word legacy is such a flimsy word thrown around nowadays, especially within the hyperbole world that we live in now, boys and girls. We absolutely do live in this hyperbole world where everything's kind of exaggerated. Everyone, is the greatest. Everyone gets a fucking medal. But I really contemplate that word legacy all the time. I do. Legacy. The basic idea being, once you're gone, right, from this world, once you're gone, dead, okay? Sorry to lay it bluntly, kids, but there you go. Once you're dead, all right, what's left of you? Your physical body's gone. That's a given, right? That's already a given. And, you know, mortality is kind of this accepted principle a principle of law and nature that we've already accepted. But once that's gone, what do you leave behind, right? That's the legacy. That's what a legacy is. And, you know, me being a fucking geek, nerd, you know, closet, shelf, fucking cave-dwelling motherfucker, outlier, pariah that I am. I just throw all these fucking words together, and I'm hoping that all you motherfuckers can figure this shit out. You know, I'm at this point where, you know, I can just kind of sit there and think, like, what's the legacy here? What are we leaving behind? And oftentimes it's through pop culture that you see reflections of this. You see representations of this. You know, you watch any of those MCU movies, Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, those comic book movies, you get to see, you know, characters that leave behind legacies. Ultimately, behind the scenes, it's all contracts and shit, because we all know that's how money moves in Hollywood. I mean, that's how money moves anywhere. It's contracts, it's money, it's who sucked who off. But within the realm of the story, you get to see what legacy can do. You know, the Tony Stark story within the last 11 years of the MCU is an incredible one, where actor Robert Downey Jr. portrays his character to this upper echelon of comic book characters, of movie characters, really. And the legacy he leaves behind is left up to the other characters in the films, in the upcoming shows that Disney Plus so graciously bestowed upon the peasants, us mere mortals. Yeah, I know, I had to fucking put a little Disney Plus plug in there, because that shit's been driving me nuts. It's been binging Recess. That's the show I've been fucking into. But, you know, the crazy part is, you see things like that and you're like, wow, it's fiction, but that's a legacy left behind by a legend to the new generation. And a couple of days ago, I was watching my Los Angeles Lakers, who, by the way, boys and girls, you know, usually in these podcast episodes, I incorporate all my teams, all the familiar sports that we talk about, you know, soccer, baseball, basketball, hockey, oh my God, football. Holy shit, my brain's fucking fried at times because I'm an idiot. But the Lakers have been really good. The Lakers have been really fucking good to start the season. And a couple of days ago, we're watching a game. I think it's the Atlanta Hawks versus the Los Angeles Lakers at the Staples Center. And legend Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba himself, comes to the Staples Center to watch with his daughter Gigi. And you see him dabbing on Dwight, dabbing on LeBron James. And you realize, wow, that's legacy. That's legacy passed on. You know, whether it be very obvious or very, you know, subtle. I think in those moments where Kobe is dabbing on LeBron a couple days ago in the Atlanta Hawks game, I'm seeing an individual who has paved the way for greatness to be measured in the modern age in Kobe Bryant. And his junior, who's only junior by what, like 8 years? Because Kobe entered the league in 96, and what is it, LeBron 03? So yeah, 7 years actually. 7 year his senior. But the reality is, like, yeah, Kobe played in that era and dominated in his era. And now Kobe, living Laker legend, you know, dabbing on LeBron is, you know, passing on the legacy of, listen, you're the next guy. You're the next chapter here. You know, you and AD, you're the guy who's gonna create the next chapter. And in terms of legacy like that, it's curious to watch. It is. Because certain legacies are born out of failure, right? And this is where I'm going to start incorporating all my teams. The Seattle Seahawks. This is a franchise that has known nothing but failure since 1976. They weren't even all that good. The closest thing to relevance they got early in the 80s and the 90s was a playoff run where I believe they beat the shit out of the, I want to say the Denver Broncos or the fucking Miami Dolphins to make it to the AFC Championship, but ultimately got their ass beat by the Oakland Raiders. Now, out of failure, there rose up, you know, the late great owner, Paul G. Allen, and hiring of guys like Holmgren and then eventually Pete Carroll, the drafting of guys like Richard Sherman, Bobby Wagner, Earl Thomas III, Cam Chancellor, Doug Baldwin, Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, you know, John Schneider coming in the building. I mean, all these things has cemented a legacy of greatness out of failure. And like the Lakers, you know, or even Arsenal, who have fallen our hard time, like, you know, some legacies are born out of the success and, you know, foundations of old. And like my Vegas Golden Knights, some legacies are born out of nothing. Like, you have to realize that Vegas, you know, the hockey team is only in its third year. And I'm not gonna fucking lie to you here, boys and girls. They haven't been good the last few weeks. You know, they haven't been good the last few weeks, at least a good month. They've been kind of okay. But it's things like this where we see legacies grow. It's when we see the legacy unfold before our eyes, we can't really appreciate what's happening. And this is where, you know, I look at all my sports ball teams, and even, you know, the Dodgers included, who had tremendous success, you know, in the days of Brooklyn all the way to when they moved to Los Angeles, and still continue to be a dominant force in the league despite our constant choking. Legacy is simply a word to some people, but to folks who want to leave behind something more than the simple shit, right? Your value, your property. Although, you know, leaving children, leaving heir, that's another huge legacy, right? That in day-to-day normal lives, that's how people, you know, leave behind their legacy, children. It's a wonderful thing. But in my eyes, you know, I've always seen it as, man, I mean, that's a very general thing, but legacy is a fickle thing where you think it's big, but it's all perspective and context, right? And this is where I'm gonna get really fucking ambiguous, meta, and all this other bullshit to describe, you know, excess philosophy. You know, what constitutes a great legacy? You know, and is it ones that are, you know, visibly recognized and popular? Are those the legacies that are considered great? Well, in the general perspective, yes. If, you know, people see that, oh shit, this thing is X number big, or X, you know, X value, X percentage profitable, X shit like that, you know, that's how certain people value it. But legacy is also how you make things. You know, it's also how you make and create certain things and certain narratives, right? And like I said, not a lot of people get to see the grind. Not a lot of people get to see the hard work. And it's something that kept popping up in my head over the last week. Legacy, the term legacy, the idea of legacy. And it also came fucking funneling down too when, funny enough, over the past weeks, you know, Sonic, the movie, which initially came out with the trailer with horrendous designs that was met by so much ire and hatred by the fans that they basically cyberbullied the studio into fixing up Sonic's face. And they came up with this fix, and it's brilliant. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And you gotta be just wondering, sitting there like, holy shit. Is that the legacy you're leaving behind? Like, you know, whether it be positive or negative, it's all perspective, right? From the studio's perspective, it's It's negative. It's a negative legacy in the sense that, oh my God, you are going to let your fans terrorize you into stifling what can and will be made, right? I mean, that's the real honest way to look at it, that whole Sonic editing thing. But on the positive note, it's the legacy of a studio listening to a fan base that is so passionate about the thing that it likes, respects, and loves, that they went above and beyond to tell the studio that shit's awry, shit's not going right, and they fixed it up. That's positive, right? And in a sense, like, it's crazy, because legacy, it is perspective and context. It is. Like I always say, shit, like, man, like, just no rape or murder. Like, how many fucking times I have to say that shit? No rape or murder. I don't say that jokingly. I say that very seriously. Like, come on, guys. If you're gonna leave behind a legacy, don't be a piece of shit. The reality of what we leave behind here, boys and girls, is how much you're inputting. What you're inputting, right? So I'll give you an example for myself. More or less, I've been posting up daily YouTube videos. I just have been. Because I feel like, to a certain point, it feels like a meditation kind of shit. Not to get too fucking granola crunching shit. But it feels like my daily dose of just exuding shit out. And so when I do that, it's like, okay, cool. Like, it may not get the numbers. It may not reach anything of significance in the long run. I mean, bottom line of what I'm doing now with this YouTube channel, with this podcast on the SoundCloud app, or any of these fucking, social media channels that I use, the reality is, yeah, it might not be significant, but the legacy I want to leave behind with this podcast, with this idea of the SkyLounge, is ultimately that you could basically talk about anything using a little bit of fucking brain power, common sense, and some humor. And you could digest that shit down, no problem. And shit's not too serious in life. Like, life can get serious, absolutely. Of course it can. I mean, that's kind of the great thing about life. There are great serious moments. I say death, and people freak out when I say that's a positive thing. No, like, death in a way where we can see it and process it in a positive way, in a way where we can see that, it's a freeing thing for if someone's suffering. Like my father, who passed away, last year. He was suffering. He was sick. He was hurt all the time. And so when he went, it gave him peace, and it gave us family the peace of mind that, oh wow, he's not suffering anymore. He's not. And shit like that, man, like it's hard to process. It is. But like the whole idea here is to be able to fucking break that shit down. Cut the pieces up. You don't want to fucking eat the goddamn steak all in one fucking piece, right? One big ass chunk of meat that you gotta fucking grind your teeth out like a fucking animal. No, you want to carve that shit up with a beautiful knife. Get the fork all up in that shit, right? I mean, call me crazy if that's how you do not eat steak, but all right. But really, legacy for me here is ultimately, yeah, figuring out myself, figuring out what this whole world is, man. And it's not a scientific method of doing this shit, right? It's not the fucking, astronomers, the physicists, the biologists, all those people finding meanings through calculations and numbers and variables and shit like that. To me, it's about the experience. It's about living life, seeing what we go through, seeing the collective experience of, cheering for a sports team, right? And that's why I do all those reviews. I like to just do these reviews just because I like to talk about my team. I love talking about my teams. And whether I be right or not, I just like talking about them. And YouTube has given such a positive outlet for myself, at least. And yeah, there are bumps down the road. There are. You know, this whole COPPA shit, like COPPA, COPPA. The censorship shit is hilarious. I'm like, I fucking curse all the time. I got fucking people complaining that I curse in the fucking comments. Like, you think this is fucking suitable for children? No? Yeah, no shit. Holy fuck. And despite road bumps, I don't give a fuck. I'm having a good time. I'm making shit that I like. Talking about shit that, you know, I like discussing. Like, sports ball is one of those things where I really thought a couple years ago I fucking hated it. You know, I thought I hated sports a long time ago. But thinking about it, you know, reflecting on it for so many years now, 5 years of just watching, you know, every kind of sports ball that I can, being an avid fan of athletics. You know, it made me realize that sports was what really helped me ingratiate myself into this culture. And that's why, you know, whenever I talk about sports ball here, and I talk about it with a lot of enthusiasm and, you know, from a lot of other people's perspective, a lot of salt, it's because I care. It's because I actually give a shit, right? If I didn't give a shit about my team, like, I wouldn't fucking be all enthused. You know when I make those Arsenal reviews, you know why I'm so fucking pissed? Because I care. Because I actually care about my team. Like, I wish they did better. I really wish they did better. But sometimes they don't, and, you know, that's life. Life lets you down. But how you tackle these things, how you go about, you know, tackling these kind of problems, that's your legacy, right? No matter what your end goal is, right? And you know, never let it be just about the goal. That's what I've learned the hard way. There are a lot of venues, whether they're the social aspect, career aspect, the educational aspect, hell, even any of this shit. Like, I'm telling you, any aspect of life, you'll fuck up. you just will. But it's how you get back up. It's how you get back up. And, you know, going to the hockey game right now just reminds me of all these little montage clips that the Vegas Golden Knights compiled together in the third period when the Vegas Golden Knights are down. You know, it's how you get back up after taking the punch. It's not how hard you can punch. It's how hard you're going to get back up and fight back after you get punched down, right? Because we all know this, boys and girls. Life kicks you in the dick all the fucking time. All the goddamn time. You're going to get punched in the dick by life. And sometimes there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. There's not. Just don't roll over and die. And don't go fucking crazy and rape and murder people. That's just wrong. Don't do that. Don't fucking do that! God damn it. It's weird, man, because I'm just doing this off the top of my head. You know, because this has been a topic that I think has been bubbling inside for some time. You know, like having a fucking plate of big-ass nachos and all that cheese because you're lactose intolerant bubbling up. Now it's surfaced into just this convoluted mess. Ah, shit. It's still a good evening, though. Still a good evening. Because, yeah, I mean, the legacy of what we're going to leave behind tonight in this recording, and this, you know, audio and video recording, is that, shit, man, I'm just going to keep getting better each and every day. You know, I may fuck up, you know, every day. I mean, everybody does. I mean, let's be honest, man. You're not going to have a fucking perfect day where you're mistake-free. That just doesn't happen. That's not how shit goes, you know. And you just got to make the best of it each and every day. You do. You do. Otherwise, if you get stuck living in the fucking, oh my god, what if, and settle on, you know, giving a shit about people who don't give a shit about you, who have no affiliation with you at all, like, don't waste your time, don't waste your effort, don't waste your energy, all right? Be smart. And knowing is half the battle. Oh my god. Well, Christ. I'm almost near the stadium, arena. Well, actually nearby the stadium. The Oakland Raiders, boys and girls, as you know, will be the Las Vegas Raiders just in a couple of months here. So I'm actually passing by this stadium, the Allegiant Stadium for the Las Vegas Raiders. But actually passing this by and heading over to T-Mobile Arena. I actually usually park right over there by the Luxor. And it's a good time. It's a good time had by all. Right? You go to the Knights game. It's a fucking wonderful time. And, you know, I'm going to the Toronto Maple Leafs versus Vegas Golden Knights game, which is my favorite fixture. It's one of my favorite fixtures out there. And, you know, Vegas Golden Knights don't have a good record against them, but, you know, the legacy of what they do tonight may change that narrative. And boys and girls, you're bearing with me. You are. I'm bearing with myself right now, too. Trying to make it to the fucking parking lot before the allotted slot on my phone freaks the fuck out and says, you're not enough space. Insufficient space, storage space. You know, that fucking lovely language. But, looks like we almost made it through to the other side. Just like the door said. Break on through to the other side. Please don't sue me, YouTube. Not trying to rob you of your money. Just trying to be entertaining somewhat. And failing miserably. Yeah. I know that. I know that very much. But shit, man, this is a very unorthodox episode of the podcast. And yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't prepared for this shit. I kind of impromptu this, as I've said, as I've fucking shoved in your faces with how little preparation I put into this shit. And how you also notice that, yeah, I have to fucking keep my goddamn eye on the road. Otherwise, we're all gonna die. Well, actually, we're not all gonna die. I'm gonna die if I don't focus on the road. Which, boys and girls, if you drive, okay, if you fucking drive, keep your goddamn eyes on the road, okay? Holy shit. Your phone can fucking wait. Don't follow this example. This is a horrible example. Alright? At least my phone is in a hand-free, safe area where I can just let go, record, let this 5 out of 10 face do its work. Ladies, I am aware of the effect I have on women. They mostly run away. Yep. Well, shit. As soon as we park, we'll end this awkward mess. That is the legacy of tonight's podcast episode 157. Yes, tune in next time for the radical adventures of the SoundCloud in 4D. And 4D stands for 4 dicks. That's disgusting. What is wrong with you? Well, I do smoke a lot. So, you know, that's kind of my sin to bear. But hey, kids, we are here at the game, at the place of parking. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there today, boys and girls. Follow me at the SoundCloud and all the links in the description below. And if you're listening to on SoundCloud, listen, I got it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Music, all the fucking podcasts that you can look out for. So be on the lookout for that shit. Subscribe for a new episode every Tuesday. And for the YouTubers out there, the YouTubes peoples out there, you know, all the links are in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily contents. Now, both sides, fuck off.